Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Producer's Perspective Live. It is Monday, the start of the week. How was everybody's weekend? Let me hear it. Hear it in the comments. Everyone have a good weekend? Everyone stay home and party? That's right, you all stayed home. No clubs this weekend. No theater, no nothing. We're staying home, but we're making the most of it, right? Who did something fun this weekend? Who did something that you wouldn't normally do? Anyone play any board games this weekend? Lots of Sondheim. Of course, people watched the Sondheim 90th birthday celebration. Pretty amazing, right? They had some technical difficulties, I hear, when they kicked off, but they got it going. Lots of Sondheim this weekend. Hot weekend in California. I know you had a bunch of people on those beaches. You know what we tell those people on the beaches? We tell those people to stay home, stay safe. I still can't get the hashtag right, but you get it. Yes, the Mandy Patinkin interview, all the stuff worked all weekend. Taylor Penny working hard, thumbs down. Well, I'm glad you guys are all safe and making the most of this, as I'm sure you are. We have a very exciting guest, a very new friend in my life. We're going to welcome the artistic director of the National Yiddish Theater, folks, being here tonight, NYTF as it's known, the longest running Yiddish theater company in the world. I think world, country. He'll tell us. He's nodding. Backstage, I could see him nodding. Zalmen Mlotek, the artistic director, they were responsible for that incredible production of Fiddler on the Roof, which I saw last year. I got to see it with Barry Manilow. That's a whole other story. And one of the reasons why Zalmen is here tonight, he and I are doing Harmony at his theater later on in 2021. Mary's zipping through the photos here. Go back to the Fiddler photos. Go back to the Fiddler photos for a second. Because I have to tell you, like, this is one of the most moving evenings I've ever had at the theater, ever. It's actually what theaters should do, is make you, a revival especially, it's what Once on This Island did, I believe, is make you see a show that you know and love in a whole different light. And this just made me enjoy it in a much different way. So I loved it. Zalmen, one of the gentlemen responsible for it, he's going to tell us about that and what he's been up to. Anyone see it out there? Anyone see it? Go ahead and chat it. If you have questions for Zalmen, who also conducted it, by the way, man of many hats, if you have questions for him, throw it in the comments. Okay, we are going to remind you about the Actors Fund. Our numbers are getting up there. I don't know that we've tipped over $4,000 yet, but tonight may be the night. Give a little to the Actors Fund, and let's see what good we can do for that wonderful organization. If you missed it, we had Joe Benincasa, the head of the Actors Fund, do a little prologue to our interview with Ali Stroker on Friday night. If you missed it, guess what? Go back and check it out on the replays. You can see all of our guests on the replays. Go to my Facebook page, which you're on, I think, if you're streaming it right now. Click that videos, and you can see everybody that has been on so far. And look at it, we've had like 30-something of them on so far. It's really amazing. If you've been watching since the beginning, give me a couple likes and a couple hearts. Let's spread this sucker around, raise as much money as you can. And now, without further ado, let's bring on my new friend and an incredible artist doing wonderful things at this emerging theater company, Zalmen Mlotek. Welcome, Zalmen.
Hey, Ken, thanks. Nice to be here with you.
My pleasure. I say emerging because, like, it's one of those things, us in the Broadway world, I say very snobbishly, we're like, what is this NYTF thing? They burst on the scene with this Fiddler on the Roof, and where did they come from? But you've been around a long time. Tell us a little bit about the history.
You know, we sometimes talk about us being a 105-year-old startup company. We've been around for 105 years. I'm not quite that old, not quite. The theater was founded in 1915 in the heyday of the Yiddish theater, when, as you know, Yiddish theater was like the thing to go to in theater in New York, on Lower East Side and Second Avenue. And the Volksbühne was created to present socially relevant and more literary works. It was they wanted not to do the melodramas and the soap operas of the time that many people, that was the bread and butter of the Yiddish theater, and they wanted to do more serious stuff. So that's been the organization's mission for 105 years. Then we didn't have to do English super titles. Now we do everything with English super titles because most of our audience doesn't understand Yiddish. Many do, but they want to come because of the sound of it. And you were talking about Fiddler, and that was the whole idea behind us presenting Fiddler. We, for years I've wanted to do it, and I realized the only way to do it in Yiddish is in New York, if it could really be on an artistic plane comparable, or at least nothing less than what the mind's eye of people who have seen Fiddler 100 times, the movie. And that brought me to Joel Grey, of course, but that's another story. So
what's amazing is that I think a lot of people, myself included, before I saw Fiddler, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, you hear like, oh, I'm not, I don't speak Yiddish. Oh, I don't care if it has super titles. I'm not going to go there. I'm just not going to get the same out of it. But yet I would go to an opera.
Right.
I would go to see Parasite, the movie. Like I would go to So I'm so glad I went, because it certainly broke through that boundary. And it sounds like you have a lot of folks who don't speak Yiddish.
Yeah, and the actors themselves, many of them did not speak Yiddish, and we had to teach that to them in the 3.5 weeks before we went into tech, which was an incredible feat for them, for the actors, to get to the point where on opening night, July 4th, 2018, to a sold-out house and subsequent 6 weeks of sold-out houses, they convinced audiences that this was their mother tongue. These were extraordinary actors, extraordinary company.
Tell us about some of the, besides Fiddler, like what are the other some of the other shows that you are doing now? What did you do this year or before Fiddler?
Well, last year we presented a play about the heroine Hannah Senesh. She was a Hungarian resistance fighter who decided to go back, fly into Nazi-occupied Hungary to rescue her family. This was done. This was in English. It was written by David Schechter, and our mission, the theater's mission, while it began in 1915 to present only things in Yiddish, today we're expanding the mission to primarily things in Yiddish, but also things of Jewish content. So that was one of the shows. Another show that we did was the very first Yiddish operetta that was performed in America in the late 19th century, called The Sorceress, The Witch. That was directed by Muttel Didner, and it actually was first produced by Boris Tomaszewski, Michael Tilson Thomas's grandfather, way back when. So it has history. So we try to find different elements of Yiddish culture and present them, whether they be in English or in Yiddish,
including new stuff.
Which of course brings us to Harmony, which I was thinking about that those very first days. The way that I had heard about Barry and Bruce's show for a couple of years, and when our theater is housed at the Museum of Jewish Heritage downtown at Battery Park, which is a gorgeous museum and gorgeous setting. And right now, or not quite now because everything's closed now, but for the last year, they've been housing this incredible exhibit about Auschwitz. And they've had over 200,000 people come visit it. And Barry did a promo for it. And when I heard that they were in touch with Barry, I said, well, if you're in touch with him, can you let him know that I've always been interested in his piece about the comedian harmonists? And then I got a call and said, well, Ken Davenport just bought the option, and he's actually looking for a theater. And so that was how we got together, Ken, and that was the genesis of our, conversation about harmony. So we're excited about harmony because it tells an important story. And I don't have to, I don't have to tell you about the music. The music is, stunning and it's Manilow, but it's Manilow as you've never heard him.
Mhm.
I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, listen, when I optioned the piece, I said to the guys, like, this is, I want to do this show, but it's very important that we find the right place to debut it. And when I heard that you had heard about it, and I was like, oh, like, that's it. It was one of those just gut instincts. And for those of you out there who know, we were going, thank goodness, we were going to open this winter. And then our director, choreographer, Warren Carlisle, got appendicitis. He couldn't. And, we said this to him the other day. It's certainly he went through a lot of pain, but for us, he sacrificed a great deal because we will be there next year at this time.
Right.
So speaking of this time that we're in right now, so tell me where, I've been asking everyone where they were when the virus hit the fan, if you will. Like, what were you doing? Where were you when you realized, like, uh-oh, this is...
Well, I was in Australia, Ken. I was, the Opera Australia is scheduled as of now. They have not canceled. They have not announced any cancellation of an opening of a new production of Our Fiddler in Yiddish at the Sydney Opera House on September 11th or September 4th. We're supposed to go back. So we were there. I was there with our choreographer and stager, Stash Kimiech, and associate director, Moretta Munter, to cast the show. So we were there for 3 weeks. And when we came home, when I was in the airport, everyone was, there were people in masks. I mean, we had obviously heard about what's going on in the news, but it was clear that this was growing. And when I got back, it was March 2nd when we got back. It was just right before, the awareness of it all came and started to really affect everyone's lives in the way it did. And a few weeks later, the museum was shut. The museum takes the schedule of the New York City public schools. So when the New York City public schools closed, the museum closed, and our theater closed. So we've been very busy with online presentations. We've been doing a series called Folks Being Alive that our social media person, Gia Pace, created. And we've been doing practically, once a week programs in Yiddish, sometimes in English, with super titles, music, me at the piano, singing, just to bring some light into people's homes at this time.
Yeah, I love it. I noticed it. But again, what I love about what you are all doing, and hopefully every week this can spread the word about that, is you are like everyone would imagine the Yiddish theater company to, frankly, not be doing streamings of you at the piano.
Right.
And I love that I was Googling around and found you at the piano, and I was like, first of all, he's got more views than we do on a live stream here. He's getting some good stuff. But I just love that this outreach, and that just came from your social media. You just said, "Yeah, I'll do it. Why not?"
Yeah. I mean, she came up with the idea, and we just all of us, jumped on it, and we've had, one of our actors did a whole, Ben Lieber did a whole Alan Sherman program a few weeks ago. We did a Fiddler reunion with Joel and Steven Skybell. We had the whole cast, pretty much the whole cast on Zoom, and I was asking questions, and it was just, you could feel the warmth from everyone because we hadn't seen each other, obviously, in all this time. A few of them actually had the virus and were recovering from the virus. So we're trying to maintain a presence because who knows when people are going to be able to come to the theater again. So, we're inviting people to come to our website and to see our Folks Being Alive programs. We do them pretty much every week.
Every week.
Yeah, this one is Dan Kahn, a wonderful singer. He was our original Perchik in Fiddler. He lives in Berlin, and he did a translation of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah that got over 1.5 million views. It's incredible. So he's going to do a concert from Berlin this coming Wednesday. Should be
Just at home from his living room.
from his living room, right? From his living room.
I love it. I love it. How long have you been the artistic director there now?
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
So when you look ahead, where do you see the theater going? Like, what's your dream of what it could become over the next 20 years?
You know, the resistance of the public to see something in a language that they don't understand has been our hardest, the hardest hurdle. Right. Even with Fiddler. I mean, I knew when I decided to do Fiddler, I knew that if there was a show that people would say, okay, it'll be interesting. Let's go see it. I knew it would be Fiddler. And of course, that was, and then, when I had the idea to speak with Joel about it, at first I asked him to either to be Tevye or to direct, and he said, "Well, I don't speak Yiddish." I said, "It's not really an issue." Because he said to me, "I know the play so well." And the next day he said, "Come, let's talk." The idea of when I think about the future, I think the resistance to seeing something in another language. If we can break down that resistance I think the Oscar award Parasite, the idea that that Parasite could be the Oscar award winner, says something to everyone, saying that it's more important for you to hear a piece if it was written in its original language. I mean, think of Carmen or Traviata or any of the operas. You'd much rather hear them in the language that they're spoken as opposed to a translation. And the same way with Yiddish. We with super titles clearly marked and very easily accessible, no one is out in the cold. So when I think about the future, I look to the day that people are just interested in seeing, good quality artistic presentations, and that's what we strive to do.
Wayne Stafford asks, speaking of Fiddler and what's next, what is a show you want to do that you feel will have or make a huge impact like Fiddler? Is there anything else that you want to do that you think could have as big of an impact that serves your mission as well?
I think about Yentl. I think about
man, what a great idea that is.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But I've been trying to get Miss Streisand to see my show, and when we open in LA, I'm hoping to invite her, and my hope is that she will understand the essence of how powerful the Yiddish is, and will play with me, and will look at the idea and say, hey, I think it could work. So that's when I think about, what if I could have what the next project would be in terms of, going with Fiddler, that would be one.
So I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. I'm with you. Like that. I love that. Obviously the title, and people have talked about it before, but what I love about it is doing it with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you starting it, because actually I think that's the way it should be done, without without like me going, oh, let's do a big Broadway production of Yentl right now. Like that's right. But you doing it and starting it down there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
I think Wayne also asked any actors you want to work with. So have you tried getting Jewish celebrities or to down there to try to increase?
Absolutely. But we were so blessed with our cast. I just have to say, with the Fiddler cast, to me, they're all celebrities waiting to happen. I mean, Steven Skybell, it's only a matter of time before, the next big show happens for him, or if we play LA, he's going to be grabbed up. I mean, he's a magician of what he did with Tevye. And there's a whole bunch of people that I would love to see if they could get the Yiddish in their teeth, You know, that's not easy. It's not an easy thing to be able to say it and own it and say it convincingly. You know.
Mandy Patinkin did an album in Yiddish.
Yeah, I helped Mandy actually in the early days finding the material, and I played for him. You know, he asked me play me 15 songs that you love, and I went over to his house and I played him 15 songs that I loved, and he picked about 10 of them. Yeah.
What I love also about you is that you've got to be, just thinking of all the artistic directors I know, I don't believe I know another artistic director who's also the conductor or a conductor or a music director. Do you? Are you the only music directing conductor, artistic director of a theater in the country?
Well, I don't know about that. I just it just sort of happened that way. You know, I was trained as a classical conductor. I went to Juilliard. I studied with Bernstein at Tanglewood. My sights were on the opera world, but I always loved theater. And because my parents were involved with Yiddish culture and the Yiddish theater, I went into that world, and I found a niche in terms of people that I could see that they could use what I knew. And then I started to write music for the Yiddish theater here, the Volksbühne, and realized that, you know, unless the theater can grow with the times and reinvent themselves in whatever way and adapt to today's times, the theater wouldn't continue. And that's what I decided to do 20 years ago when I first went into first approached the board at the time to say, hey, you know, I'm interested in your future. I think I have an idea to how it can at least, you know, speak to another generation.
And were all your opera friends like, what are you doing? How dare you go to the theater?
Actually, you know, my favorite Bernstein story when I studied with him at Tanglewood, you know, he said to me, he asked me, it was the summer of, I think, 78, whatever. And he asked me, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to study, I'm going to be at Juilliard next season. He said, who needs another Verdi conductor when you know this music better than anybody? And it was Bernstein saying that to me that kind of said, oh, you know, I talk about, I say, you know, thousands of hours and thousands of dollars on the therapist's couch, you know, kind of figuring out where I wanted to be. I wanted to, you know, wanted to do Broadway. I wanted to do opera, but Yiddish was pulling at me. My heritage was, I guess, won out. So,
and what's next on the season, is next upcoming besides Harmony, of course? What are you looking to do, or is on the docket for the next year?
Well, we're hoping to present Ricky Ian Gordon's new opera based on the Garden of the Finzi Continis. He and Michael Corey have written the new opera, and we're talking with the New York City Opera about doing a joint production, and we're hoping that we can present that next season as well. So that's.
So there sounds like Fiddler has opened up a lot of doors for potential partnerships.
Yeah. I mean, partnerships is the way to go. I mean, you know, it's the most important thing that we can do. Build bridges with other companies, and we're looking at lots of different projects. I mean, all of these Volksbühne Live programs that I'm doing, we're doing a Mickey Katz retrospective, you know, Joel Gray's father, with Ben Liebert coming next month. We're going to be doing a Yiddish radio show, hour of that, also with super titles. So we're looking at various different aspects of Yiddish culture and trying to bring them out in a way that is palatable. We're also going to bring back Hannah Senesh, because we did it as for a short run. We believe that it has tremendous appeal to a younger audience as well, to young kids who have no connection, have no understanding of what the Holocaust was, what anti-Semitism was. So, hoping to.
Someone asked if that production was available for streaming. Was it
No,
taped?
not yet. We're hoping to bring it out, next year at some point. When who knows what schedules are going to look like are looking like yet. But that's definitely on our agenda, as it was so effective.
And just tell it. Listen, it sounds like you're working harder than ever during this.
Everybody says, after a day of conferences on Zoom, we're exhausted, right? Don't you feel it?
Oh yeah, I call it, instead of being zoned out, I'm zoomed out. I had 5 today, and I was like,
right,
I don't know how to do
it. Right.
Yeah,
So
it's strange.
Yeah.
So you're working so hard. You're so positive. You got all this stuff going. Just how are you doing that? Like we're now in like 5-6 weeks into this crazy madness. That you have great energy, and what tips do you have for everyone else watching out there on keeping things going and staying positive and getting through it?
It's about looking ahead. It's about believing in humanity. It's about the love. What's happening. What I think your experience, everyone's experiencing. Yesterday's tribute to Sondheim, the tribute. I mean, the love that is coming through, the people's manifestation of connection with people is bigger and more significant than ever. And I want to believe that humanity will find the cure. And the day will come when, people will go to the theater again, and people will go to movies, and we'll see our families again. I mean, it's going to happen. It's just going to be about time. And we just have to be as positive as we can and support each other.
I love it. What a great way to go out tonight. Thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Of course. And I can't wait to work with you on Yentl. Never mind harmony. We're going to work on it. We're going to crack this Yentl. I love it. Please do, everyone, join me in thanking Zalmen, and make sure when the theaters go back up again, you go down to the NYTF and see a show, especially if you don't speak Yiddish. I mean, that was my big quote to everyone after I saw Fiddler. I said to everyone, if you're Jewish, you should see the Fiddler on the Roof. If you're not Jewish, you must see it. It really changed my perspective. I learned so much. And I'm going to be a fan of the Yiddish theater for many years to come. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We'll see you very soon.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
Zalmen Mlotek, everybody. He runs such a fantastic and unique theater company down there. I urge you all to see a show and make Harmony one of them. Make Harmony one of them. We'll be going there next winter. About a year from now, we would have been there. But we're thankful that he's given us a spot for next year. So thanks to Zalmen for that, and for him for being here tonight. Tomorrow night, we've got one of Broadway's power couples, Michael Arden and Andy Mientis. Actor Andy Mientis from Spring Awakening, Michael Arden, director of Spring Awakening. These guys, and Michael, director, of course, of my Once on This Island, they are quarantined together, and we're going to get them both on the live stream at once. That's tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Don't forget, we have replays available for you. So if you're like, what am I going to do? I can't watch another Zoom meeting. I can't attend another Zoom meeting. Go watch one of our replays, and then give money to the Actors Fund. Do what you can. Every little bit counts for all those people in the entertainment industry that are affected by this. Don't forget to also stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Cuomo says we're on the other side of the mountain, but we're not down the mountain yet. So let's not be Georgia. Stay home. Stay home. And now, finally, something to make you smile. Here's, Wicked parodies are always fun. Wicked parodies are always fun. This is What Is This Quarantine? This is super fun, by the way. You got to watch this. What Is This Quarantine? Watch it at producersperspective.com /mother of Pete. I'm a little sloppy mouth tonight. The producersperspective.com /smile. You can see all of our smiles guaranteed before you put your head on the pillow tonight. Watch some of those. Do not look at CNN. Do not watch any politicians. Watch the smile videos, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Getting the band back together, getting the boys